نعم فهمید؟ اوکی صد رفت. Uh-huh. Yeah, very well. Class, good afternoon. Friends, okay, distinguished instructors. Hope everyone's doing well. Is everybody okay? Hope no one is sick. You aren't sick, are you? Okay, very well. Okay, class. By your leave, dear instructors, I'm here to give you some information about the what? What? As you mentioned, teaching methodology or something. Understood? As everybody knows, we are on the threshold of a long journey. It means at the beginning of a long journey. Each one of us requires what? Something to do with our students. As you know, that is okay. Very well. Although it is not a formal seminar, but there is something to be discussed here. As I told you, we are on the brink of something important. That was called course journey, right? So today's seminar covers the following questions. Okay, I'm sure something crosses your mind. And the first thing crosses your mind is a question. The question might be what? Okay, teacher. Understood. And all of you are experienced and distinguished instructors. And you have had the experience so far to go with different students in different classes in different levels. You understood? Good. So the very first question which comes to our mind is what? Who is a teacher in class? Have you ever thought of it? I'm sure you have. This is the first question, actually, comes to every single instructor's mind. Who is a teacher in class? Is a teacher the person who instructs the person, I mean the learners, and follow in their footsteps? Actually, no. A teacher is not only an instructor. A teacher is what? In reality, a teacher is a leader. Role model. You know what role model is, right? You know role model. The person or the personality, the character you want to be like, you want to follow in his or her footsteps is called what? Leader or role model. Did you understand? The second question which comes to your mind is what? Do we all learn via the same methodologies or ways? There are 8 billion people living in the world. Does everybody require the same methodology or path? The answer is yes or no. The answer might be no. Okay? And third question might come to your mind is what? What are some possible learning styles or methodologies? Do we require some specific or distinctive ways to learn something through? The answer might be yes, we do require. Okay, the fourth question is what? Is language a skill or science or subject? And I'm sure as an instructor, you have asked your students many times in the same question. Crosses your mind, involve your mind too. Is language a skill or a subject? The last question, which is going to be discussed, is what? What does our own course book include in how to apply them in class for our students? Do you understand? Let's get to the point and talk about each individually. The first question is, who is a teacher in class? May I have your responses for the question? Who is a teacher in class? A teacher is a leader. A teacher is? Okay, a teacher is an instructor, leader, role model, as I told you. As soon as you step in the classroom, Even a simple student can evaluate you from head to toe within a second. You know what I mean. A student can be the best assessor for a teacher. You may not know about yourself something, but there are students who know all about you from head to toe. At the very first glance, a student can assess you, whether you believe it or not. Do you understand? The way you dress up, the way, for example, you walk in the class, the way you make some movement, so the way you talk to the students. Every single one of them matters. So, teacher can be a role model. You know? Besides teaching, saying something, and instructing them, you need many other things as well. The way you dress, the way you, for example, behave with them, the way you conduct, and the way you treat them. Treat them as what? As your friend, as your student, as your mate, classmate, what? Matters. You know what I mean, right? So, a nice teacher is a leader. A leader is a person who can be our role model, right? And there are some characteristics of a good teacher to be discussed. The first one is rapport. And I'm sure you're familiar with the word rapport. Rapport, simply we can say bond, connection, or relationship between you and the students in the class. It matters. Understood? It is impossible to instruct the students in class without having a bond of a teacher and a student. Teacher and student bond matters. This is called rapport. Recognizing the students. So, you can have a firm rapport by recognizing your student. So, try to recognize them well. We are teachers. We need to know every single student in class. It matters to say their names in class instead of, hey, you. It's so much better to say, for example, by their name. You know this, right? Recognizing them. And distinguish the students in class who are good or bad. There are some specific students who are good at some specific things. On the other hand, there are some students who are good at something else. We need to make a recognition here. Recognition of the students matters to you. Secondly, listening to students. We are teachers. That's okay. Does not mean that we do not listen to our students. Every single student has their own specific problem here. We need to get familiar with the problems. By what? By listening so patiently. A good teacher is a good listener. Tries to understand the students. Did you understand? You know what I mean, right? Third, correcting the students. The students who study something in the class. In the same classroom, there might be thousands of students, right? They are not in the same level. They are different. Understood? We need to correct them. Every single sentence a student makes here, even a tiny mistake a student makes, who is responsible to correct that? You. Because they themselves may not be able to recognize their mistakes. Did you understand? To realize their mistakes. It matters. Then, we need to respect them. Respect. So there's a good saying in English. So you want to be treated well, try to treat others well. When you respect the students will respect you back. If there's no respect, so do not expect any respect from the students towards you. You know what I mean? Then we need to be even-handed. What do you mean by even-handed? Even-handed means what? There are thousands or, for example, hundreds of students in the same classroom. They are not the same in terms of their age, in terms of their, for example, appearance, in terms of their intelligence, in terms of their communication or something. We need to see all of them equally valuable as a student. Does not mean, for example, there might be a person who is your friend outside, but your student here inside. Does not mean he is or she is more valuable than you than others. To you than others. It's called even-handed. An even-handed teacher, it means knows every single student and see everyone in the same way with the same value, right? And the second characteristic is what? Skills of a teacher. When speaking of skills, what does cross your mind? Does a teacher require specific skills to teach, to be a teacher? Sure, skills matter. Understood? What I mean by skill. Class management. This is number one thing a teacher should be able to have this, or else will not be called a teacher. Do you understand? A skill of class management. How to manage the class, manage the students here, manage even the lessons, timetable, whatever. Understood? Even the board, a simple board, requires what? A special skill of management. You understood? So, this is called management. And next one, variety. Variety matters for every single one. Person who calls himself teacher. Variety. Is it okay to go with the same path for 100 years, for 10 years, 20 years as a teacher? No. Every single day, you need to have something different for the students. This is number one thing which attracts the students towards you. Believe it or not, it works miracle. If you haven't experienced it yet, go and experience it. It works miracle. Variety, especially in English. Now, English is a language which is being updated every single day, every single month. It's not okay, for example, to teach the students the 10 years ago, the 10 year ago, or the 10 year before English. Understood? The 10-year-old English, for example. The English we studied when we were in school, and the same English should not be taught in the classroom. Did you understand? The same with the same methodology is not correct. This is called variety. Next one, destination. The students come to your class, require something, what? That's called instruction. They do not know where they go. You are the person who can instruct them where they should go. Destination, the place you are going to go. The student studied English, for example, a student studies English, does not know what the English is for. You are the one who can instruct them. Instruct them what the English is for. Your responsibility. This is called destination. And matching tasks. You know tasks, right? Matching them. Know whether you are interested in it. Know the students are interested in this task or not. Even yourself. First up, yourself matters. If you are not interested in something, enthusiastic, or you do not have any passion for something, is it possible to teach that well? Is it possible to understand that well? Never. You understood? First up, try to have or build your own passion for that. Then you can teach that to somebody else so well. You understand? Yeah. Okay, the third characteristic a teacher can have is knowledge. Is it important for a teacher? Is it important? How much do you think knowledge is significant for a teacher to teach you? Very well, 100%. You're not aware of the subject you're teaching. You do not have the knowledge, for example, to teach the subject, the knowledge of the subject you're teaching. Is it possible to be effective or telling for the students? No. The students will never find you a telling teacher in the class. Believe it. Next one. Okay, knowledge, course book. At least the course book you're applying in the class, you need to be aware of that, 100%. So there are teachers who do not know what they teach. Just suddenly they pick out the book and start reading that. Is it possible to transfer the information or the knowledge to the students well? Never. It will not happen to anyone. So you do require the information or the awareness of the course book you're teaching. Then materials and resources. Materials, resources. Okay, the materials you're applying in the class, where do they originate? Where do they come from? Did you understand? You need to have specific resources and materials. Understood or not? Then keeping up to date, as I told you previously. Keeping up to date. Every single day you do require to update whatever you do have. That's okay. 10 years ago, we ourselves were students. The way we have been taught is different, the way we teach others. Did you understand? Especially English, the language. Every single 2 hours, there is one word which is added to English dictionary. So we need to be updated. We need to be aware of something in English. Did you understand? Update. Keep a nice teacher, a successful teacher, keeps him or herself up to date. Did you understand? Okay, the fourth one is what? Tasks. Means what? Responsibility. Something you do. See, okay, preparation matters. Is it important? Too much important. Even the professor is not able to teach a class for 10-minute times without preparation. Preparation matters. And I'm sure you've heard of the 6 P's in English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Preparation. P. Okay, the principle, 6 P's, works miracle. Okay, prior, proper preparation, prevent poor performance. You want to have a good performance on the stage, you do require what? Preparation. Without preparation, you cannot expect anything from yourself. Did you understand? Preparation matters. As I told you previously, even the professors cannot talk for 1 minute time without prior preparation. Preparation matters. You need to manage your time, find time for it, make time for it to prepare yourself for anything you teach in class. Then reliability matters. This is one of the teacher's responsibilities. Reliability. What do I mean by this? Reliability means trust. You know trust? The students should trust you. You need to be reliable enough to be called a good teacher, or else the students will hate you over time. Reliability. Do whatever you say you do. Check their homework and return them to them. Did you understand? Reliability matters. Keeping Keeping record matters. For example, in the class, who did their homework, who didn't do their homework? Did you understand? Keep a record of the students. Keep the students' information. Have them with yourself. In your free time, you can just evaluate that, assess that by yourself. Okay, who is, for example, good at what? This is called what? Keeping record. And lastly, stimulate the students. You know, stimulate. What? Energize them. Energize them. Tell to them, I could tell them that they can. Stimulate, motivate them. A good teacher, as I told you, is not only an instructor, an inspirational, inspire. Do you understand? You need to inspire the students. Okay, the second question is what? Do we all learn via the same methodology or through the same methodology? And I do know the answer of yours as well. No. Did you understand? Absolutely. I give the same answer. Hell no. 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 Says who? Thousands of people are living in the world. Do they have the same methodology of learning something? Never. Never. You do require a specific methodology, but I do require a different one. The way I learn is far different from the way you do. Did you understand? So the answer is no, we do require this. So number 3, what are some possible learning styles or methodologies? So a question for you. Can you please tell me some styles of learning or some ways the students can learn? Okay, level. Good. Very well, got it. Thank you, sir. Yes, madam. Do you know any distinctive methodology for students?
Is there different methodology that for example, for the there is good classes, I want to example, would be very much impressed with that.
Very well.
For example, beginner or level classes, I just instruct them to make examples or my sentences of the words and learn these things.
Thank you very much. Yes, madam. Is there any specific methodology you do know?
It should be, it should match from the level, their level,
Correct.
which level they study, and if we use from the high level methodology for the beginner
classes?
yes, classes, it should be very boring, and it's not a good design for that.
That is okay. Yes, madam. Any specific methodology you do know?
Specific methodology is whenever we have a class, we go here, and the age of our students are important. That's how we use that methodology. Yeah.
Right.
When our students are kids, we need some different methods compared with those who are younger.
Okay, very well. Older? Yes, madam, you.
All the way to the teacher's side.
Uh-huh. And you do have the same opinion as they do. Very well. Hey, the first methodology the students or the people can learn is auditory. Auditory learning. You know auditory. Do you know the word audio? Related to your ears. People, there are a specific number of people who can learn something easily with their ears. Ears. It is so simple for them. Did you understand? The first learning methodology is auditory. It is something which is a worldwide methodology, or the way of learning something. Number 2 is kinesthetic learning. Kinesthetic learning, there are some students who can learn something by moving their hands, moving their whole body, having something in the class. This is called kinesthetic. Motion and movement. You got it. And the third thing, or the third way students can learn is visual learning. Visual. Look at the TV. See? Visual. Something belongs to the students or your eyes, our eyes. Something we can see. As soon as we look at them, we can just copy them. Do you understand? Good. And number 4 is what? Number 4 is reading or writing learning. There are some specific numbers of students who can learn something effortlessly by writing and reading them. Understood? And the 5th one is what? Mind mapping learning. By imagination, there are some specific number of people who can learn something easily just by imagining them. Understood? Okay. And the last one is the Feynman technique. Feynman is a kind of, so it is a person. Feynman technique. There's a technique which was invented by this gentleman. A Feynman technique is what? Explaining something in simple terms as if teaching it to somebody else. There are some people who can learn something easily by teaching them to somebody else. These are some specific ways of learning, but it differs from person to person, as I told you before. Understood? Any confusion? No? Okay, jump on the third question, the 4th actually. Is language a skill or a subject? A question for you. Language. This is a skill. This is not a subject. Huh? Sir, what do you think of this?
It is a subject that needs a lot of skills.
Lots of skills. This is a subject in reality. Requires bunch of skills. Right? Good. So, right, yeah, you're right. General versus academic English. You know what I'm talking about. Understood? So, we learn English generally. We learn a language, what? Academically. It actually depends. Which way we choose. General way or academic way? General, only speaking, listening to something, somebody. Understood? Academic requires what? So many other skills. Exactly. So, student-centered. So, generally, if we talk, English can be like an art, a skill. We can get better at it by doing what? By doing it practically. Understood? So, therefore, student-centered classes are preferable. Do you know student-centered? Huh? Okay, no, actually, a student-centered class is a class where all the students participate. 80% of the class is ruled by the students, not by the teacher. It is called what? Student-centered. This way, students can do whatever they want, can learn this easily. Because as I told you, generally, if we think a language can be like a skill, see, you can learn it by doing it, not by just listening and just sitting and look at it. You understood? Doing it. So, next is practice. Practice, practice, practice. Understood? Yeah. Both inside and outside of the classroom. The students require to practice. Without practice, impossible to learn something. Okay, last one, practical. Practical. Whatever activity you apply in the class, we teachers apply in the class, should be kind of practical. Practical. Not only, for example, done by the teacher and the students are just listening. Nothing will happen to them. Let them to participate and do what you did earlier. You got it? That was okay. And the fifth question is what? What does our own course book include and how to apply them in class? So you do teach different classes right here. So different classes or no? Different classes, various classes you've got here. We do require to know how to apply the materials in the class to make the students understood. Understood? That is okay. The very number one thing is what? Is speaking. When it comes to speaking, everyone knows that this is significant in a language. This is important. Sure, it is important. So how do you make your student boost your speaking? Huh?
Give them a test to speak about something.
Okay, give them a title and let them speak. Very well. Others?
Ask them questions about.
Ask them questions.
About everything that we.
Very well. Good. Okay, speaking. How do you think we can boost our speaking? Only by talking to each other? By doing some tasks in the classroom? By reading books? By what?
It should not be limited just inside the class.
Inside the class. Okay.
Practice it more.
I can let them practice. Let the students practice. Yeah, exactly. So, is there any specific source you let the students follow the source and boost their speaking?
For those students who are younger or good access to internet, there are some apps, some websites that they can practice there.
Practice there. Very well.
Yes.
Okay, exactly. So, now our course book here in this English school includes what? Listening. Sorry, speaking. Speaking matters. Speaking. When it comes to speaking, as I told you, this is important. This is important. Although it belongs to general English, but this is important. Do you understand? It's speaking. So every single day we've got a speaking, especially higher classes, from beginner to advanced classes. You do have a speaking every single day, at least for how long? For 20 minutes. So 20 minutes, at least for 20 minutes. So the title should be given in the class randomly just before they are asked to talk or no? It should be given 2-3 hours before the class. What do you think?
I think if we give them the title before the class, they will take preparation.
Exactly, get preparation well. Hey, a speaking title should be given one day before the class. Okay, today for tomorrow, tomorrow for the day after tomorrow, and go on. Did you understand? And ask the students to get ready for that. Those who do not get ready for them, push them. Put them under pressure to get ready for that. Or else they will never go even a step forward. This speaking matters. When the students are speaking is good, absolutely they can learn something easily in the class, whatever the teacher says. Or else, good for nothing. Speaking. Understood? Second, let them listen a lot. Listen. Because listening can be number one source to boost our speaking. To boost our speaking. Did you understand? While they make mistake, for example, pronouncing some words, okay, constructing some sentences, you're responsible to just stop them and correct them. Or else they will get used to that. Continue that until the end. No, stop them and correct them. Speaking matters. Did you understand? Every single day for 20 minutes. Every single day, 20 minutes. You understood? So, now for 20 minutes, should they talk to each other or not to you? To each other? To each other for 20 minutes. Good? And at the end, let them share their opinion openly in the class. You got it? Those who are willing. Those who are willing. Not, for example, every single person is responsible to do that. No. Those who are willing, let them raise their hand and start talking. For 1 or 2 minutes something. You got it? Speaking. So, what about the reading? The reading. So, how do you apply reading here? Okay, good. Give them time to go through the passage, share their opinion. Good. And what about others?
We have to read a lot. Every single text, we have to get them to read it and try it.
Okay, very well. Hey, okay, which days of the week do you apply reading? Saturdays. Saturdays. On your timetable, yours given Saturday is only reading. Reading. Reading matters. 1 week before, you ask them to go through the reading passage and what? Make an outline of their comprehension. Did you understand? Okay, reading. So the passage might be a story. The passage might be, for example, a kind of, scientific, economical or something. So whatever they are, the students are responsible to get ready for that. Did you understand? Get ready how? Should they read them from the paper or something? No. Share their opinion, share their own comprehension of the passage. You understood? So, every single passage includes some difficult words, are called keywords. How do you apply them? Write them down. Very well. Write them down. Okay, find out the meaning and make their own examples. Good. So,
There's the main problems that most of the students don't have the fluency.
exactly. Good. Fluency matters. Good. Fluency, accuracy, both. Accuracy and fluency matters. Okay, students we've got, they cannot even read a simple sentence in English. Belongs to reading. Understood? Let them read. Those who miss the class on Saturday. What do you do? This is important.
Yes, they have to repeat.
Okay, report it to the manager because this is too much important. Students who cannot even read a simple sentence. It's too embarrassing, isn't it? See, okay, now, as I told you, every single passage has some keywords. Those keywords. First step, you need to make sure yourself you can pronounce them correctly. You yourself, get ready for that. Teach them in the class. I can note them down on the board while they are talking to each other about the reading. Okay, so at the end of the class, you can mention the words once again. How? For example, here's a word, for example, bond. See? Bond. Bond is given in the passage. First step, ask them, what do they think bond means? If they're correct, that's okay. If they're not correct, just let them know. Let them find the same word in the passage. Read the passage out loud. Let me know. Find out the part of speech of it according to the passage. This is one of the ways you can motivate them. Learn it well. Bond is the pronunciation. For example, now there is given head. The bond between you and me is so precious to me. Now it is used in such context, so you do know this is noun. Let them get familiar with the parts of speech this way. Can be kind of effective. You understood? That is okay. Secondly, so once the class is done, I mean you're finished with the class, let them read the passage out loud for their fluency. Read, I can let them read, or else they will not work on their fluency themselves. So here you will be responsible for it. You understood? Okay, good. So that is all. And the practice. Every single passage has got a bunch of practices. So you do the practice yourself or no? You let them do that. You let the students do that. Do you understand? Do you ever ask them in the class or no?
Yeah.
Exactly, they should be asked in the class because some of them may have made mistake. And you're here to help them correct those mistakes. You understand? That is all, the reading. And besides the reading or the passages in the book, you can introduce some other materials to them. Go in their free time, they can just pick out the book and start reading. Because reading is one of the key skills. Did you understand? Good. Okay, the third one is what? Vocabulary. Is it important? It's important. So how do you apply vocabulary? How do you teach the students the vocabulary? So, do you have anything? How do you apply? The way you apply the vocabulary in the class? Let me know.
We pronounce them well and the meaning, and also make example ourselves, and also
Okay.
students have
Very
to
well.
make example for the vocabulary that we do on that day.
Okay. Miss Academy, I think you are not feeling well. You're not feeling well, are you? Okay. So, if you're not feeling so well, you can go home. Okay. Yes, sir. How do you apply the vocabulary section?
Okay, it is the most important point. Skills.
This is the most important.
When I apply the vocabulary section in a class, for example, it depends which class. For example, in beginner class or in level 1, level 2, or any other classes that we have, of course, it depends to student. For example, in level 3 class, I try to don't speak in passion in that.
Very well.
Yes.
You try not to speak in Persian, right?
I tell the meaning in English as well.
Mm-hmm.
For example, tell which family this word, this vocabulary
Good.
belongs to.
Very well.
Yes. And I teach them one by one. For example, when I'm teaching, for example, the first one, gist. The first
Right.
page of vocabulary, level 1, level 3 class. So I tell them what this word belongs to, which family I think. And I try to tell the meaning as well in English, not in Persian. And also, now I give chance for the students to make sentences, to use this word, to give it.
Wow. Good. Thank you. Yes, madam.
When mostly nowadays that I teach digital classes, and because they are small children and they don't know any other synonym for words, so I need to give the Persian meaning for them, and I repeat that for that, and I want them to use this word in their own examples. Not they have not to repeat the word that is
Exactly.
in the book.
Good.
Their own examples. If they use, I think they will understand it
Wow, very well. Yes, madam. What is your response and your methodology for it?
For the school classes, it has words in the book as well, and I give extra words for them as well. And for beginner classes or level classes, your books.
Wow. Okay, thank you. You let the students make example.
Yeah.
So we have to say all the different forces. For example, verb
Mhm.
as a noun form,
Exactly.
adjective form,
Good.
For example, adverb forms. If we say all the forms that we can use in a sentence, I think
Very well.
Yeah, it is important. for
Good.
us to know the family.
Very well. Akrami, can you talk?
Of applying the vocabulary in class and let's go class. It's somewhat different for them to explain them and define them in English for them, and also we should repeat the pronunciation and also the meaning and version, and then let them to make example for them and the way how to use it in the sentence. But for the higher class, higher level, we should explain them and define them in English and also about the word family and also the word family and how to use it in.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as you previously mentioned, vocabulary is number one thing and the most important and the most significant thing in a language. Sure it is. Sure it is. Now, and I'm sure you have heard of this question from many of your students so far. Sir, I have studied English for more than 10 years. Still, I have trouble even introducing myself. Do you know? They lack vocabulary. Does not mean they lack vocabulary. Does not mean that they do not have any word on their mind. They do have a bunch of words, thousands and thousands of words, but they do not have any idea of using those words. Did you understand?
It's not with the usage.
Pronunciation matters. Pronunciation matters. The way we pronounce word is important. The students may pronounce some word the way they look, but it is totally false. You know, especially in English. Do not let them pronounce the words incorrectly. Let them, I can try to show them to pronounce the word correctly. It is important. Second thing, meaning, the synonym. You can find some synonyms for the words for yourself. This is one of the ways they can level up their vocabulary knowledge. Third, nature of the word, as you previously said. Nature matters. Where does the word come from? Does it come from pronoun family, verb family, for example, something? Did you understand? Okay, last one is what? Usage. Important. Did you understand? Important. Let's take the word eat as an example. Now, we do all pronounce the word eat, don't we? Yes, we do. Pronounce it eat. Now eat. So, hey, eat, the past form can be ate. And the last, so, see? Pronounce the third part of the sentence. The word. Exactly. It is pronounced eaten. Students pronounce the word eaten. I have eaten my food. See? The way they pronounce it, too bad and embarrassing. The word's eaten. Eaten. Do you understand? Exactly. Now, if you can bring just one example for each. Let them make bunch of examples in the class. Bunch of examples, eat. I eat food every day. We ate breakfast at 8 o'clock and they did not eat their lunch on time or something. Let them make bunch of examples. Even if there are some idioms or expressions in English you do know which have the same word, you can as well teach them. This is one of the ways they can learn it well. For example, you said to eat like a bird. Now to eat like a bird. Every single word is so easy to understand. Eat like a bird. See? To eat like a bird is an English expression, which means to eat a little food. a little food. And the opposite is to eat like a horse. It means to eat a large amount of food. You understand? See? Exactly. Eat. It was something about the vocabulary. This is important. Especially in my classes, even in higher classes, when I ask the students make example with the words, they are stuck. They do know the meaning. They do know the nature of the something, but they have no idea how to make example with it. This is the problem. This is a problem. You need to push them make example, or else you do not have to jump on the second word. You understood? Yeah, it's important. And the fourth one is what? Listening. Do we have listening here? Yes, we do. Okay. How often do we have listening in classes? Once a week? Twice a week? 3 times a week? Once a week for higher classes. Once a week. How do you apply it? You just I can let them listen to it.
Listen, and after that we ask what was it about and what do you
Okay, sure.
understand?
The listening is practice-based listening. Whatever they say, there are a bunch of practices. They are supposed to listen and take the right answers. So, what else do you do with the listening? Do you do anything else as well with the listening?
Yes. My class, especially, I keep a record of some beautiful expressions when they listen to audio. I keep a record all of the expression on board. And I explain it.
Very well. Is there any other methodology?
I just asked them that
What you heard.
What you heard and what was the lesson you share your audience and the things that were in the lesson you have to share.
Wow. Fantastic. Is there any other thing you do? Okay, now, hey, whatever they listen to, try to ask them. First, what do you hear? Okay, while the listening is being played, you are supposed to write down something on the board. What are you supposed to write down? The expressions you hear. There are a bunch of expressions the students cannot even understand what they say. For example, now there is a question, hey, in a conversation, okay, do you have the time? So, there are 2 people. Number one person asks, do you have the time? It is 2:30. What do you mean? Doesn't it sound like kind of crazy question? Do you have the time? It is 2:30. Is it okay to respond this way? No. So, do you have the time? So, what should be the response? Do you have the time?
I heard from some teachers, especially when we're going to ask someone.
Okay, time. This. Have you ever thought of it? Do you have the time means, what time is it? See?
What time to what's the time?
Remove the article there. Do you have time? Which means, are you free to talk to me? The difference. Did you understand? As I told you at the very beginning of the class, without preparation, impossible. Impossible. You need to listen to each listening number of times because the students have no idea of what they hear. What they hear. Especially the listenings are what? Conversational English. They are kind of natural English. We need to instruct the students. Hey, this question. This, for example, expression, idiomatic way to say this.
Because they use a lot of
Exactly. For example, here is a good expression which says, I fancy you. I fancy you. Hey, sir, what does I fancy you mean? You just take out your dictionary or something. Does not make sense. See? I fancy you. Another way, I am interested in you. Did you understand? See? Try not to forget about keeping the record on the board while the listening is being played. It's important. It's important. And here's another way as well. While we play the listening, the students are, I can think that we have to have our pencil ready in our hand just tick the right answers. No, it's wrong. Because they put all their concentration on the right answers. So instead, try to let them, play the same listening once again. I mean twice, for the second time. I can let them not to do any exercises. Just listen and how the people pronounce words. Use some idiomatic expressions in your speaking. Did you understand? It's important. Okay. As you know now, the listening we've got in the class is not sufficient. Besides, you need to introduce them some other sources. Go and listen to them. Because listening matters. Boost our speaking. You got it? Okay, listening. The fifth one is writing. Do we have writing here as well? Yes, we do. Okay. What day of the week do we actually have writing skill? Thursdays. Thursday. What do you do with the writing?
There are also some rules and regulations.
Okay. Okay, the exercises? Okay. Some of the tasks are done immediately in the class, and some of them are given as a homework. So, this is okay, right?
Yeah.
Good. Every single Thursday, ask your students to write a paragraph.
Yeah.
It differs from class to class. I'm talking about higher classes. Up to level 1. I'm from level 1 up to level 6 or advanced classes. I'm talking. Every single week, they are responsible to write a paragraph. I know that's kind of boring. This is dull. Students find this boring. Therefore, they do not tend to do this. But you know this is important. If students have good knowledge of vocabulary, can understand our speaking, can speak in a very awesome way, but when it comes to writing, they have no idea how to write. See, this is a problem. Every single week, try to ask them to put their pens on the paper. Write a paragraph regarding whatever the chapter is. Did you understand? So how do you teach them? There are some, regulations. As our teacher said, you can note down all the regulations here. Teach them one by one. For example, now the word apostrophe. Apostrophe is one of the what? Punctuation marks in English. Now you teach them. You bring all the information about apostrophe you do know. Does not mean that whatever is mentioned in the book, some extra information you can bring from your own, from outer sources or something, and teach the students. Let them find it so interesting. You understood? So for example, apostrophe is one of punctuation marks in English, which is important and has 3 specific uses. Number 1 use, makes contraction. Second, possessive nouns and some pronouns. And the third, it pluralizes the alphabet letters. For example, 2 A's, 3 A's, 4 I's, something. You understood? That is all. And the last one is what? Grammar. So, do you love grammar? Yes, we need to love grammar. Absolutely, we need to love grammar. See, grammar. Do you teach your students grammar too? How do you teach them? How do you teach them? You just write something down on the board, the definition or something? Let them write it down? So? Exactly, grammar. Grammar is important. Now, every single class has their own specific chapter of the grammar. Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, beginner, and even the lower classes. Understood? Okay. So the way we teach grammar does not mean that we let the students go through the definition one by one and every single word in the definition should be memorized by the students. No, this way they can never level up their grammar skill. And instead, we can bring a bunch of examples on the board and let them make a bunch of examples in that grammar. Understood? And there are a bunch of practices in every single part of the grammar in the chapter. let them do as their homework or as their class activity. You understood? And lastly, in conclusion, now the gist of the seminar is, a teacher is not only a teacher, but also a role model. So I told you? Okay. And teacher is in charge of recognizing the various students and ways to instruct them so they can easily get the hang of it. It means get used to it. Understood? So, and furthermore, a teacher needs to make the learners understood, and language is mostly an art, not science, so that the learners have to practice practically. You understood? Hope you enjoyed. Okay, now, dear instructors, all in all, take it seriously. Take it seriously. It is so much dangerous for higher classes. The students should not go to higher classes without anything. Understood or not? Try to be so much serious in the class. Being serious does not mean that hit them or slap them. Okay?
Yeah.
Put them under pressure, ask them a bunch of questions the day they miss the class. Report it to the manager and let the manager call their dad or mom, whatever, whoever. You understood? Take it seriously, please. Because we are in charge of teaching higher classes. In higher classes, the students are, some of them, look like, what do we say that? Sluggish one. Cannot even make a simple example for a simple word. For example, life. I do not know what life is. See? I do not know what life is. See, it is so much embarrassing. Embarrassing. Believe me, now, I do have a bunch of students in level 5. I see, it is kind of difficult thing for me to let them pass and go to higher classes. Because right after level 6, they will gain the what? Certificate. So, believe me, it is so much difficult to let them go somewhere and say I've graduated from somewhere and I do have the certificate or something. It is too difficult for us. Do not let them go, please. Understood? So being different is so much difficult. Gaining reputation, being popular with people is so much difficult. It takes energy, sacrifice, dedication, and time. You understood? And everything can be in your own pocket. Your own reputation is in your hand. You can do it. Understood? Your own, for example, personality. There are some teachers who are awesome with only 2 or 3 years of teaching experience. There are some students, some teachers who have taught a language or something more than 20 years. Still they are a simple teacher, kind of simple teacher. Understood? But try to be different. When you want to be different, try to act differently. Understood? So in the first place, it might be a little bit hard for us. It might be kind of arduous for the whole school. But in the long run, we'll have our own reputation among them. As soon as they recognize that we have worked for them, not for ourselves. Understood? Yeah, please take it seriously. So if there is anything, I'm here to listen to you. So sorry if it was boring. Okay. So, class.